Okay, guys, everyone's getting banned. We're getting banned. This is probably the last episode that we're doing.
Damn.
And before we get banned and sent to jail.
Whoa.
Yeah. No, but so I think everyone knows what we're talking about. I wanted to talk about it, but I was waiting for a while, like for a bit of time to pass to see what's happening, all different opinions. I didn't want to like jump on it and emotionally speak about the matter because that's usually, I don't know if that helps anyone. So I was like, you know what, let's let it play out for a while. Let's see what sides people are taking, what are they saying, so that we have like more to play with and more to talk
more
about.
Perspectives in general also.
Yeah.
Now you're sure you want to say something, like we want to talk about it.
I mean, I think it's not cool to not say anything about it because if it is very close to our, like this is our work, this is what we do, and it feels a bit personal. So I think we should talk about it. And also it's like when you see something like that happening, you should probably say something.
Right.
Now whatever you want to say, it's okay. I have my opinions about it. I'm seeing what opinions people have about it. But then after a while, you're like, okay, this is now, it was a debate at the start. Now it's getting a bit, like it's going a bit crazy.
What do you, crazy in the sense it's being covered everywhere like that? Or?
Yeah, and now it's like being blown out of proportion a bit because I was okay with it when they said these things and it became a debate and people were upset, people were outraged, people didn't like what was said on the show. So I was like, okay, that's normal. That's how things are. You say something and it pisses people off, and that's how it is.
Right.
And we do that on a much smaller level with every episode. Like everything that we say pisses a bunch of people off.
Pretty much, yeah.
And that's okay. I get pissed off too when I see a lot of stuff online. That's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But then when you have the government involved and the police involved, and you're like, okay, this is going a bit too far. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
मतलब क्या हो रहा है, like थोड़ा surreal भी लग रहा है because at the start you're like, okay bro, fuck, कलेश हो गया, this shit went down and people are pissed off, this side is saying this is vulgar, this side is saying this is comedy, dark comedy, ये वो, you're letting it all unfold. But then now it's just like to think about it and think what's happening, like someone said something.
Yeah.
They just said something.
Yeah.
It was just that, like someone said something, whether it's dirty, vulgar, kharab, theek hai. It was just like sounds from his mouth that had no real impact on the real world.
I mean, now it kind of has had an impact.
It does, but it was a hypothetical question that was asked, to someone on a comedy show.
Yeah, would you rather have sex with your parents, watch your parents have sex which is a very...
It's a done question, right?
It's like the purpose of that question is exactly this.
Is to make someone really uncomfortable.
Yeah, so there is a thread on Reddit, it's called Would You Rather, where people post their like craziest would you rather questions.
Yeah, and this is probably one of the craziest...
because it puts you in a place where there is no right answer to that question. Like there is no better
you
or
have
worse.
To give an incorrect answer.
Both are, it's like a disgusting question meant to disgust you.
Yeah.
And put you in a spot where you're like, I don't know. Like, but if you had to pick, it's like one of those things you do.
At gunpoint
types. I
remember.
Coffee with Karan में तो कब से चल रहा है? Would you at gunpoint if you had to have a gay encounter?
ये सब क्या है? This is virtually the same kind of questions.
It's same realm.
So what I'm trying to say, the purpose of the question was to shock.
Yeah.
It's not like, I mean, that's what happens. Like if you take that question and you write it down in text and put it in front of a bunch of people and say, Ranveer said this statement. First of all, they're calling it a statement. It's not a statement. That wasn't a statement. He wasn't stating anything.
Yeah.
He was just like saying
posing
shit.
A hypothetical situation.
There is this contestant, and the whole point is like we get people here and make them kind of uncomfortable because it's funny.
That's the format of the show.
Yeah, it's like everyone is a bit uncomfortable.
Right.
Like even in the crowd when you're sitting, you're like, oh fuck, I can't believe he said that. And then someone says something worse and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
So obviously after a point it's gonna get to a place where it's like dirty and vulgar. But that ends there. And now when I say this, it sounds a lot like I'm defending what he said, which is not something that I'm doing, because this isn't something that needs to be attacked or defended.
Yeah.
Like everyone who's had a take on this is like, oh, I'm not defending what Ranveer said. Why the fuck would
anyone defend what he said?
Why would that need a defense?
Yeah.
Like ऐसा मतलब
हाँ, ऐसा opinion नहीं डाला है ना उसने.
I'm not. What I'm trying to say is like it's so inconsequential whatever has happened that whether it's just silly to defend it or attack it or like even debate it. कि मतलब हम क्या कर रहे हैं? Like
as a society, you mean if this incident is such a big part of our lives all of a sudden, what does that say about like our lives?
I mean,
right
it's inconsequential in reality. According to a lot of people who are primarily a lot older than us, it might be consequential to younger audiences that are watching it, and they feel that these things poison the minds of the youth, and they have all these absurd things that they think.
And they're probably right when if that's the concern, I still get it.
Right.
Like if you don't want your kids to see something vulgar or hear something vulgar, that's fine. That's like a common parental tendency. No one's parents wants their kids to watch porn.
Exactly.
They don't want them to see anything vulgar. Like when there's a kissing scene on screen, like the whole family gets uncomfortable. Either the kids leave or they change the channel or वो सब वो तो है normally है. But that's always going to be there. I'll never go away.
Yeah.
So I get that perspective. But if this show is the only thing in the world that has anything vulgar in it, okay, I get like outrage. It should be protested that our society and everything around us is so clean and this is the only thing that's dirty. If we get rid of this, we're good now. Our kids are fine. ठीक है, take it in the parliament, put it, do whatever procedure needs to be done, it's fine.
Right.
Like I would get it. But like look around थोड़ा, मतलब देखो आजू बाजू में क्या है.
नहीं भाई, वही चीज़ है ना, ये फसाड बन गया है ये situation. It's a placeholder, and as much as I dislike Mr. Biceps, it's very strange that I have to side with him in this absurd situation. I feel like the situation has become what it is because it was him. If I was on this show and I said it, I don't think it would have been such a big deal.
No one would give a fuck.
No one would give a fuck because no one knows who I am, and no one, this guy is a very big, high-profile person. He's garnered a massive audience, and he's done it by being a chameleon. And I feel that's a big reason why I think it's a lubricant for this engine that has now creates the most clicked on content in our country. Where he tries to cater towards whoever he's around, who he's talking to. He's not going to try and say anything wrong. And he wants to be accepted as someone who's as a conversationalist in that situation. So here, I think it's virtually the same thing he's done. He's on this absurd show. He said something that's unoriginal. He wanted a reaction and he got it.
He sure did.
No, so I understand that, and I understand why it would get a reaction. Obviously, like now if you're talking about it very critically, the statement, I call it a statement, the thing that was said has come from Ranveer, and Ranveer is a brand, a very big brand. Like at least this incident just showed how big of a deal he has become, which is something that he's worked very hard towards, and he's built this brand. Now I don't like the way he does his conversations. I don't like the way he does his podcast, and I personally wouldn't take that approach where you're making this persona, which is perfect. you're having all kinds of people on, you're having civilized conversations with all people, not challenging authority to the slightest. And you have built this brand, but that's a brand that you have built. And this, if that's what you wanted, theek hai, like it's you have the freedom to do it. Tomorrow, if I want to pick a persona and work 10 years towards building that persona to the fullest and get it to whatever place, whatever that persona is, if it's positive, negative, jo bhi ho, I get to do that. And if people are resonating with it, people are watching it, well and good.
Right.
Do I agree with that approach? I don't. But I don't think there's, like, objectively you can't say ki bhai tu galat kar raha hai. Maybe it's not the best way to do it.
But still something he built, right?
No, but I think one big thing here to obviously we all were on the same side of the argument, but I feel like one very important perspective that people who are offended by everything have is that they've realized that he's been disingenuous. ये मेरा मानना है.
हाँ.
कि they are like कि अरे ये तो ऐसा नहीं था.
Exactly.
इसने ऐसा कैसे बोल दिया?
Exactly. तो ऐसा मैं वही बोल रहा था कि 10 साल लगा है ये persona बनाने में.
Yeah.
Now, if it would have continued with that, with him doing whatever he did, maybe it would take much longer, but something would come up that would show, okay, maybe this wasn't all of that.
Right.
And that's okay. Like, it was going to happen. But for it to happen overnight like this, where you've gone from this thing that you've built, you're talking to people in the parliament, you've had the foreign minister of the country on.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when you're a podcaster, and if you do it for long enough, you are seen as someone who is taking stands. Now, Ranveer may not actively be taking stands, but the kind of people he gets on, the kind of conversations that he doubles down on,
would make you insinuate his stand.
Involuntarily you are taking a stand.
Yeah.
If you have so many conversations on religion and spirituality, you will be looked at as a spiritual.
नहीं, पर वो भी काफी प्रोक्लेम करता है भाई मैं ये करता हूँ वो करता हूँ.
हाँ, तो ठीक है ना, अभी वो शायद करता भी होगा.
Yeah, that could be personal too, right?
And now we're getting in a conversation where it's okay for someone to be religious and spiritual and still have a fucked up sense of humor. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But if you have hidden it for all this while and suddenly you have revealed it to the world that, I have this side of me which is a bit naughty and it thinks of these fucked up things and तो then वो लोगों के साथ धोखा ही होगा ना, like fuck ये क्या मतलब who is this person, where has this come from?
He was having fun bro on that show. There was this one part where him and whoever the contestant is, they have a woo off. And he's like woo. Poor chap bro, he didn't know shit was going to hit the fan.
But वही तो है ना, अभी उसने मतलब जितना भी काम किया it paid off for him. And now the thing with content is, with most people, if you're doing something and it works, you double down. That's the rule. You work to find what it is that's working and then you double down on it and you grow until it stops working and then you find something else and you pivot and then you double down again. And whatever he's done, it's been working for him. Now, it takes a lot to zoom out and see, okay, like I'm going in this direction. Is this what I want to put out? Is this the persona that I want to put out? Are these the stands that I want to take? And then stop yourself and say, I know this is working, but this is not what I want to put out. So let me do the things that I want to put out. It may not perform as well. But when he was here, he said it himself that, listen, this is a job for me. I'm doing the social media content game and this is my job.
He was
this is my
honest
job.
about it.
I focus on metrics. I focus on growth and this is that. So now this is the flip side of it where, you've got to keep an eye out because there's...
I think another thing is this is my job and all sahi hai, but see what you're doing your job with. The mediums that he has chosen are like the most intimate and most like what do you call it, like personal things that people are very firmly attached to, whether it's God or whether it's religion. And ये चीज लेके तूने ऐसा build किया है अभी. If it was something less important in a layman's life, maybe it would not have been that big of a deal. But yeah, man,
That's the thing. Like, if you look at the people involved, when you look at Samay is also involved.
Yeah.
But Samay they're not coming at him for the things that he said. They're coming at him for that platform that he built. They're like, you've built this platform and you've allowed these things to be said on this platform. But otherwise, if you go and look at the stuff that Samay says, he's known for it. Like, that's...
Yeah.
India's not ready for Samay Raina, India's not ready for Samay. That's his brand. So for him to say absurd things, and he carries it also because he's a funny guy, that's his brand. Like, the more he does it, the better, because people are laughing and people are enjoying.
Right.
So now no one is looking, it's like, I can't believe Samay did something like this. That's the whole... he's been doing this shit the whole time. But if you've done this thing for 10 years and now suddenly you're doing this, it's fucked up, and it's just the lapse of judgment. And I really feel bad that it happened like this, even though I don't like the way he does his content. And we've been very vocal about it. When we spoke to him also,
someone which one of you said this? You said we hated him before it was cool.
But that's like, I don't hate him.
Yeah, I know.
I don't like the way he does content, and I don't enjoy it, so I don't watch it. But like, every time I've met him, he's been a nice guy. I've spoken to him a couple of times. Like,
he was nice when he came also.
No, otherwise also I've had conversations with him, and he's always been nice, and he seems like a guy who knows what he's doing, and he was doing it until now, where he made this call.
Yeah, lapse in judgment.
Got carried away a bit because the show India's Got Latent was like insanely popular. And then Samay had built this place where you can come and be yourself and say whatever, and people are cheering on. Like, the more like you get naughty, and people are like, yeah, let's go. Like, they want it to... everyone's like upping each other with their humor. And it was... the appeal of the show was also that people who are not comedians were coming and trying to be funny. So if it hit, you were like, oh shit, this guy is actually funny. And if it didn't hit and it bombed, that would also be funny. That you were like, oh, see, he's trying to be funny, but Samay would call it out and be like, bhai, tum mat karo.
Bhai, what surreal to me, we were talking about how surreal this whole fiasco is. What makes it the most surreal for me is that the fact that the show went on for so long. I mean, it's not very long. There's less than 10 episodes, I think, right?
But that are for public.
With the amount of numbers and all, this is not... most people in our country belong to traditional conservative families. And I, before this show existed, would assume that it's not something that would be received well. I think what he did was make it cool. He made it cool for the youth to, like, people who had this sort of sense of humor, they were allowed to embrace it, I feel, through the show. And what's even cooler is that it was no longer just some YouTube channel. It became a TV show.
Well, it was mainstream.
It was mainstream, and people's families were watching it. So for those same families to now get suddenly upset.
Yeah,
but I don't think it's that. No. Let me close the Ranveer thing before we get... Now, with everything that's being said, like, it's gone too far, and like, I would try to put myself in Ranveer's shoes, and he's probably going through a lot. Like, his parents are getting threats. People are coming to his mom's clinic.
Yeah, I read that.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
I don't like what he says. I don't like his content. I don't like the way he's done things. But like, none of this warrants that. Like, you shouldn't be threatened, and there shouldn't be a case on you because you don't like what he said. मतलब ऐसा नहीं चलता है और नहीं चलना चाहिए.
ऐसा नहीं चलना चाहिए. And it doesn't give anyone the right to fucking go and violate anyone's, your
personal space.
You're fucking...
I'm okay with the FIRs also. Like, if someone has said something and there is a system in the country where you can go and lodge a complaint to it, and then we'll see what happens.
Fair. Yeah.
ऐसा तो मैं Yugu पे भी complaint डाल सकता हूँ, but मैं डालूंगा नहीं क्योंकि I have things to do in my life which are more important. But if I wanted to, I could, and he'd have to come down and we get it done. It's a nuisance, but you do it. That's the judicial system of the country, and that's okay. There is a reason that system is in place. But then all this extra stuff where you're having, this is like a proper lynching on social media.
Pretty much, yeah.
क्योंकि तू उसको फिजिकली टपली नहीं मार रहा है, बट तू हर भाई उसको इतने मैसेजेस आते रहेंगे, like every minute he must be getting so many fucking messages, and just like each time he look at his phone is just someone cussing him out or telling him at that
what
place, like you will look at yourself and be like, what, like am I really so bad?
Yeah,
like उसने he hasn't, ठीक है, it's consequences of his actions, but to a limit ना, क्या मतलब क्या
हाँ, nothing should cause people to be violent, you know, that's where it's just getting absurd. वो किसी ने कुछ गलत भी किया है तो उसको जाके फोड़ने का काम शायद doing is not the most solution oriented thing. This is a mob mentality that people need to realize that they're being brainwashed into, you know. Thankfully, I feel primarily the youth is younger people or people who are younger than 30 maybe see the side we're talking about.
And anyone from mostly what I've seen now, this is also when you see stuff on social media, people having takes and people tweeting and on Reddit forming their opinions and saying these things out loud, that's a very small number of people. Most people are just like oh, you saw, wo kya ho gaya, crazy ho gaya, fuck.
Yeah.
And they move on. They're not sitting and writing essays on social media.
Yeah.
But even within them, like people who were younger and our age are like, you know what, that shit that he said wasn't funny. Or they call it cringe. They were like, bro, that was so cringe. But it ends there.
Yeah. As it should.
As it should.
Yeah.
Like that's the beauty of social media and the internet, that you put out content and the people judge. If they want to see it, they don't want to see it. They have opinions. There's a comment section. There's likes and dislikes. And there's a mechanism in place to gauge what people are feeling about this content piece. Right. And it should end there. Unless whatever I've said is threatening to someone. If I'm calling for violence. If what I'm saying causes political unrest. बस उतना ही. उसके आगे you say things, if they're vulgar, if they don't make sense, if they're stupid, you look stupid and it ends there. And people will judge you, or you will get trolled, you will get things. But after that, I don't think it should escalate further.
Yeah, like Apurva did you see what people are saying to her?
Yeah.
Obviously.
I mean, she's been getting slut-shamed she's been getting hurled with abuses before this also.
Yeah. Or this is to like then
it's on steroids now.
Yeah.
Fuck, man. And she's I was telling y'all like before we started that I had made like a couple of impressions regarding her and stuff, but after just seeing how she's dealt with a couple of clips have fully now just changed my perception of this person, and I feel like she's really brave. I feel like she's gone to that police station, but I haven't seen anyone else I feel a lot of people have been summoned to appear in court. She's gone there. I feel like she's taking the situation head on. She's refused to take that clip off her page.
Really?
Yeah. That's fucking badass, bro.
That clip she took off, I think.
No.
She's kept the Ashish clip.
Ashish clip she's kept.
हाँ, तो उसमें तो उसने कुछ नहीं बोला था.
नहीं, but they're making a big deal out of things she said like when she's responded to that guy.
हाँ.
That's also being made into
how
a big
can you
deal.
speak?
Yeah.
वो तो proper like it's uncle mentality ना. How can a girl talk like this? उसके पहले क्या बोला है वो तो.
बदतमीजी से insult कर रहे हैं लोग. वो ठीक है.
I mean, people need to have context to like fully get this, like the back and forth between that contestant.
I mean,
and
we are
what was
assuming
happening.
now everyone has seen it because it's shown on TV.
Yeah, it's being shown.
Yeah, I don't
मेरे
think
मम्मी ने भी देखा है, तेरे मम्मी ने भी देखा है. Like
yeah, my mom called me after that. Just like, be careful.
Yeah, my mom said untriggered pivot. I told you.
हाँ, तो of course that's a natural reaction.
Yeah.
Because if our whole thing was also it's literally called untriggered.
Yeah.
तो मतलब we are going to have conversations and sometimes
they're going to be uncomfortable.
Bro, and you have to look at this thing very objectively. Okay, you look at it, you do the maths. We sit here and this is going to be like a 2-hour long episode, and we're going to do this over and over and over again for as long as, and we've been doing it for 4 years now. We're going to sit down and speak for 4 hours to 6 hours every week. I'm going to say a lot of things, you're going to say a lot of things, and you do this for 10 years, and you're telling me you're not going to say one thing that could be held against you. You'll probably say 1,000.
Yeah. Probably have.
Yeah.
More than that.
And with these things, it's just like who decides ki this is the thing that, you know, we're going to now you will have to answer for this.
Yeah.
Because we're not, as a society, we're not going around and pointing out everything that someone is saying and holding them accountable.
Which again, if we were to do, I would be fine with it. But then do it, right?
But that's just not feasible, and it's
correct, hai bhai, but
most things would be pointed at, and
if we're talking about
down.
Exactly, that's my point. If you're talking about setting regulation, set it universally. अभी एक क्लिप देख के तुमको रेगुलेट करने का मेक्स नो सेंस. फर्स्टली इट्स ऑन दैट यू नीड टू पे टू व्यू दैट वीडियो. समवन हैज गॉन एंड पायरेटेड इट, तो मे बी दैट गाय शुड गेट अरेस्टेड फर्स्ट. Isn't that illegal? Piracy?
Yeah.
When there's a gated paywall for someone to access content which has been
but again, if it's for the public, whether it's paid for or not,
I think the show has transcended that level where if it's paid, if it was behind a higher paywall also where you have to pay more money, it was for 59 rupees, which is like, I don't think there is a single person in the country who can't afford it.
Like, there will be.
नहीं, they're very well could be.
YouTube नहीं देख रहे ना वो लोग.
But people were like ripping that content off and putting it on Instagram immediately as soon as the episode ends.
And the show was also thriving on that, ना? ऐसा वो तो नहीं बोल सकते कि Samay wasn't sitting and actively arresting, looking for people who was pirating. The show was getting hype.
Yeah,
it was growing and.
हाँ, but my point is that the show has followed its legal compliances properly. Like if they know that certain things shouldn't be watched by someone who's a certain age, ठीक है, guard that. Maybe this content is too dank for the regular people. Okay, we'll put one more barrier there for people. Who is giving all these kids? अगर अभी ये बड़े बुजुर्ग लोग का बहुत देख रहा हूँ मैं अभी कि you have to set an example for the youth. अभी यूथ के लिए यूथ ही रखेगा एग्जाम्पल. यूथ का ख्याल कौन रखता है? ओल्डर पीपल की. लाइक who takes care of us? Our mother, our father. Who was your hero when you were a child? Your dad, right? We have put them in this ecosystem where things are so accessible. We are granting them all our permissions. How is someone who is of in an age where he can be influenced so easily handed a smartphone or given the ability to pay for things and buy them on a thing? But
see, times have.
My point is कि parent cannot regulate what the child is watching. How is the fucking government supposed to do that? Or how is anyone supposed to do that on a nationwide scale? I don't see how regulation comes into this at all.
So what you said about the parents wanting to regulate what their kids are watching, that's valid. And if you're a good parent, you'd be concerned about what kind of content your kids are consuming. It's just that times have changed and people have access to the internet from a very early age. And when I say early also, some parents will be like, oh, no screens before 10, no screens before they turn 12. But after a while, like, you give them phones because everyone else has it. Now, if they're going to unanimously decide and that kids beyond this age are not going to have phones, that's a different thing, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And then if you're in school and all your friends have phones and they're playing games and they're talking about YouTube videos, that kid is going to be left out.
He's going to be
and he's going to.
But that's not a fair argument, bro, because it's
not an argument. I'm saying this is the case.
Oh, हाँ, okay.
ये ऐसा हो रहा है. That's why kids have phones, or they're on their mom's phones. Like there are parents who don't give phones also, but then घर पे ही parent भी कितना entertain करेगा. एक point के बाद they're like, ठीक है भाई, इसको phone दे दो, चुप बैठेगा 2 घंटे के लिए. And then within those 2 hours where he's venturing and going, And this is a new problem.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't have this problem. We got phones much later. Our problem was there was a home computer and that had access to the internet.
Yeah.
So if you were going to look up things that were messed up,
Porn
or jo bhi ho, like that's not the only thing, right?
Yeah, Vice City and stuff.
हाँ वो सब तो हम खेल ही रहते हैं. And there were instances where my parents like tried to stop me and they said,
Yeah,
listen,
don't do it.
Don't play this game. My parents stopped me from watching WWE for a while. I didn't know internet history was a thing at the start, so my dad could see that we're looking up.
All the filth.
Yeah, and he was like, "What are you guys doing?" So that kind of regulation is there, and it's a parent's duty, I would say, to regulate what kind of content their kids are consuming.
Of course.
And that's completely okay. So I think this sense of parents also coming in and saying कि ऐसा हो रहा है, it's a state of panic.
Yeah.
And they don't know, they're not entirely sure how to go about it.
Yeah.
And now I would also take their side a bit because, and this has nothing to do with Latent or dank comedy or whatever. Just kids are growing up much faster than they used to. And social media has done this thing where people want to be seen more because they're seeing other people be seen and they're feeling insecure and they want to be seen more. Everyone wants to be the top comment.
Yeah.
Like now, if there is something that's posted, could be the most serious thing in the world. It could be a piece of news about something that went down in Gaza, and the top comment would be a joke, like a really dank joke about it with the most number of likes. So that tendency has gone up. And now if you looked at Latent, where the show thrives on people coming up with like edgy comebacks, you can see why they would see that and be like,
yeah,
हमें भी बोलना है. Like when we were kids, if there was like, we'd watch WWE, right? And these guys would
roast
get on
each
the
other
mic
on
and
the
roast
mic,
each other.
Yeah.
Or like you would see like the DX do the suck it, and the kids see that and they mimic it.
Yeah.
And they do that and it does go far. Like you get these instances of bullying where the kids have been bullying into essentially like ending their own life. Like 6th standard, 7th standard kids. There was a case
Kerala, right?
in Kerala. So it does influence kids to a degree. So I get where they're coming from, but Latent isn't doing that.
That isn't where you draw the line, I feel.
There are much worse things.
Yeah.
Like you could go on the internet, and if you're someone who's like, there are kids who are a bit like, you know,
अलग सोचते हैं थोड़ा.
हाँ, थोड़ा they have these tendencies of looking up dark stuff, and then they get on a slippery slope where you're eventually on the dark web seeing people get.
Yeah, like that's the.
Bro, I remember there were kids in my school who would get like these videos where someone's getting their like head
beheaded.
Yeah. And they would show all the other kids. So
ISIS videos.
Yeah, this shit has always been there, and parents are fucking terrified.
Yeah.
So I get it. Like kids at 9 are watching porn.
Yeah.
So
मेरा ये एक ही मकसद था वो by saying youth का ख्याल youth ही रखेगा क्या. Like I don't mean to say that people shouldn't be given unsaid responsibilities when they have platforms. They should. But if that youth has been given that responsibility, the people who are in charge of the country or of whatever board should give said youth the tools and the right, should put them in an ecosystem which allows them to have these things. There should be systems in place for who sees what, who says what, who's allowed to do. There's nothing. Even this IT Act that they keep quoting, usme bhi kafi, we spoke about earlier, it's very vague. There's no way of deciding what is obscene and what is vulgar.
Obscene,
So how then it just goes to the government, and then they're allowed to take a stand whenever they feel like it. And unfortunately, this guy is now a big scapegoat.
Yeah.
When there's a plethora of pieces of content online, which I, off the top of my head, are actors are on OTT platforms breaking dustbins. News anchors are having WWE wrestling fucking arguments on national television.
That's the real obscenity. You know what I think is obscene? Paparazzi videos. Like, I think that is fucking obscene. Like, why? If your concern is you don't want people to see things that are not worth their while, you're like, oh, why are kids watching this? Is this what are they gaining from this? And then everyone's obsessed, like looking at Malaika Arora go to the gym every day. Like, as a country, everyone is sitting and they're like, ये celebrity इधर क्या उधर क्या, because the numbers show for it ना. ऐसा नहीं है कि वो videos tank हो रहे हैं, वो सब पे views आ रहा है. तो वो तो चलता रहता है. And now it's become this thing where we know pap videos are a genre. So now within that, people are like, how do I
get more?
How do I stand out? What do I do? And then
just invade people's privacies even more.
नहीं, वो तो सब mostly paid ही है.
Yeah,
so that's what I'm saying. Like, these actors call the paps, that's not even a secret anymore.
Yeah.
ये तो है. And then there's people like Urfi who at least put in a slight effort to have some level of
just trying to make it a craft, right?
Yeah, at least put in some creativity in it. There's some level of art in there. It's some level of expression. But then you have C-grade actors like putting their tits out, then calling the paps, and there's this like thirsty comments. Like, that's the ultimate filth with those comment sections. And you look at these people who are commenting and they aren't scared of the consequences that people will see that I have said this. You know, when you see a fucked up reel or a fucked up meme that you think is very funny, right?
Yeah.
And you laugh also, but you know it's fucked up, so you don't like it, or you don't. You
just let it go.
You let it go. You have your fun and you let it go because you're scared that fuck if I like it and someone sees that I'm into this. Like, that level of shame is there.
Yeah, there's people making those things. Like, people make those memes, right?
Yeah, and that's also anonymous, so it's okay. And the people who are also seeing it are anonymously enjoying it. But like, there are fucking perverts out there saying that I want to do this, and that to you on a public platform. Everyone can see it.
Yeah.
So that brings me back. Then when you look at this, then Latent is a sober, clean show in comparison. Like, usme kya vulgarity hai?
It's ultimately just words and everyone's insulting everybody. Like, there's no... I don't feel like... people are looking at it in a very discriminatory lens. It's in fact very liberating. Because you can be anyone and you can thrive on the show.
Can come from anywhere.
You will be disabled, you will be made fun of about your disability.
You can be a normal person.
You can be a normal person, you will be made fun of for your whatever other stupidities. But the opportunity for you to shine there exists for everyone.
Yeah.
You know?
And look, if you're going to take the show, let's talk about the show now as a thing that existed. If you look at the pros and cons and the positives and negatives of that show, you will come out with a net positive.
Oh, the pros far outweigh the cons.
Yeah. Because if you're looking at it solely for entertainment, it was obviously entertaining. Like, anyone who comes and says that, oh, I didn't like the show anyway, that's okay. But many people did.
Yeah, the numbers speak for itself in that matter.
Yeah, like numbers like no one has ever seen before on an internet show.
Yeah.
Like, probably outperforming a lot of mainstream shows that have existed for years.
Yeah.
And this happened like overnight. Like, Samay put out that first episode, it blew up immediately, and everything else after that just blew up. People were waiting for the episodes to come out.
Yeah.
It was entertaining. You can't say it wasn't entertaining. Secondly, it was a platform where people could come, showcase themselves. If you came in, you put on a good show, you had a career after.
Yeah.
Like, overnight careers built on the show.
Yeah, most people who were good on the show
when bad
bad too.
Even bad.
But they're all doing brand work. They all have, they have purpose. You can see they're doing things.
Yeah.
So they've been given an avenue. Now they aren't just some random nobodies who do whatever they were doing.
Which they were before that day.
Yeah. Now they're making ads with Swiggy.
And the show, and the point is, like, talent was rewarded or your ability to garner attention and entertain was also rewarded.
Right.
Or also, if you came in and people didn't like you, you would get criticized also by the public who watched it. There were a few contestants who came, and there was outrage over those people also, where people didn't like it and they were like, this is fucked up, like we didn't like this.
Yeah.
And that was cool too, because you're like, that's how it's supposed to be. People get to judge. And that's how it was. There was the talented people who got a career. There was people getting entertained. And also now, from a creator's perspective, it showed that you can build things on your own.
Yeah.
And if you do it right, you will destroy. People will love it. People will be entertained. You will make a lot of money. And that made so many people think that, you know what, we should think of starting something. Maybe we should focus on building a show, which is something that was missing in the Indian creator scene, that a lot of people would be like, okay, I think this is what's working, let me do this. I've seen someone else do this, I'm going to do it in my way and it'll work. But for someone to go and say, you know what, I'm going to build this show. And now people will come and say it's copied from Kill Tony.
Yeah.
Didn't he only say that?
It's written in the description too.
He said it's inspired by Kill Tony.
Yeah.
But then it's different. It's not...
Just the certain how it's set up is probably the most similar thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only similarity. Otherwise, in essence and the way things were done and the kind of contestants who would come on, it was all different.
Yeah, actually Kill Tony is supposed to be purely It's a stand-up show where you will get...
it's the art of stand-up is promoted. If you're bad, you're getting roasted. That's that show.
Also, I'm pretty sure Samay went into it thinking, you know what, we're going to spoof a reality talent show.
Which he's done so many times over the years and like successfully. Like तुमने वो भड़ों के खिलाड़ी देखा है?
हाँ.
Like he's made spoof shows before.
Okay.
And we had spoken about
भड़ों के खिलाड़ी.
Yeah, it's hilarious. You should watch it if you haven't.
So the whole point of it was to be like, this is nonsensical and this is like a spoof, and sometimes great things come out of it, but in the meanwhile everyone's going to be entertained. Like I'll ensure that everyone is entertained. Let's have fun. People would buy tickets, they would go, they would enjoy it. People would watch it online. The contestants seem to have fun, and some of them didn't, but that's okay. That's the judges also. I didn't have a good time when I was there.
Yeah, some judges were lame.
After all this news broke out, now I've sent Am a voice note. I'm like, bhai, thankfully you were sick and all, you didn't say anything there on the show.
I've gotten so much of that.
Bach gaya, bhai.
But that's what I'm trying to say, that it did spark some level of motivation for people to create. And Samay, like if I'm speaking personally, he is the first person that I came across and I saw that he's like personally, like I saw it firsthand, that he's doing this content shit and he's making money, he's doing it, it's his career, and he's growing and he's focused and motivated. This is from back when he was in Pune. And I used to edit videos for him. Like, I don't think many people know this. His manager from the time, he hit me up and he was like, oh, do you want to do this? I don't even know how it all came together.
I think you had started doing the pod and some clips and all went out.
And then at the time I did it and I started doing it, and then Yugu and I would sit and edit we would take his streams and cut highlights out of it and edit it and put... And then he called me over and he was like, you stay with me and you work from here only. Then I stayed with him for a couple of days, spent a lot of time with him. And this is when we had started the podcast and I didn't know how to edit. Like I was just like figuring it out.
Yeah, neither did I.
And I did it for a while, and then he was also like, bro, okay. Then after a while, he's like, bro, you think like I don't have editors or what? I just need someone to hang with. He's like, you seem cool. So, and then I stayed with him a couple of days and I saw how he did that shit. And like I took a lot from that. I was like, this is possible. Now I've seen it in front of me.
Yeah.
Like before this, you've just seen it online. People do content and you don't really know how they became big and what becoming big as a creator really means. And I saw that with him. I was like, oh shit, like this is real.
हाँ.
मतलब हो सकता है, तो I should probably like double down on what I'm doing and put in more effort. And that's when I told him, bro, I want to focus on my thing.
I remember you after those 2-3 days. I think you stayed at Samay's, and then we were doing the edit or whatever. You're like, bye, we gotta do our own shit, man.
Yeah.
Like we're doing this. It's great. We're learning a lot, but it's time to अभी अब खुद का करना पड़ेगा अपने को. And I feel like that was a switch with you personally. I feel.
Yeah. And I'm grateful that happened. Like I'm very grateful for that incident, that this happened, and now we are where we are. So like anything in the build up to this, like I'm grateful for.
Right.
So I'm seeing, even like from a personal point of view, having spent time with him, having met him, like he's just his sole purpose is to entertain.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter who you are or where you are. He'll be like, bro, एक joke तो मार के जाऊंगा मैं. Like I'll entertain this guy, I'll entertain that guy. Now while he's doing that, he's making like he has a hell of a career out of it. But that's his whole sole thing. So a lot of people, you know, they think that when a comedian is being edgy or the cracking dark jokes is to be edgy. Matlab to show that, oh, I'm this guy. And a lot of people are like that, but I don't think that was ever his intention.
It's just who he is, man.
Yeah.
Anyone who knows him or has spent time with him will tell you exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
That being said, do you feel like... I feel like they must have gone through a whole process, right? Even with the panelists, like when whatever got recorded, they would have gotten a draft of the edit.
Yeah.
वो उसको गया रहेगा ना, उसने भेजा रहेगा ना उसको. Did they send you? Like they were like, is this fine if we use?
No.
I don't think...
But that's because it's me. And I think Ranveer must have probably...
भेजा रहेगा रे उसने.
But no one other than Samay has creative control on that show. Is what I think.
बोल भी नहीं सकता है ना. I don't know what process they've gone through. Like इतना तो मुझे पता नहीं है.
But on a
when I went on the show and मेरे को क्या ही भेजता, मैंने कुछ बोला ही नहीं. What am I approving?
ये मेरा कार्ड दे.
ये जो मैंने नहीं बोला ना वो कार्ड.
So I don't know what went down and how it came out, but I think even like he's a smart guy. I don't think he just saw this coming.
No one saw it.
Like how are you supposed to know that this joke is...
The fact that this show blew up, it made everyone feel like, oh shit, this is in. Let's keep doing it.
Yeah.
They didn't think that this guy was gonna come, man. Fucking, it's sad.
But
I shouldn't laugh so
to be
much.
fair, every time we've also spoken about like, oh, what will get us cancelled and what should we say and what we shouldn't say. I think we always drew the line ki, okay, we know caste, religion and politics are, you don't touch.
Yeah.
Everything else, it's kind of
You
cool
can
to be playing that.
float around.
Yeah, because like you see the humor that's going around now.
Yeah. Bhai, ye Stewie ke upar we make divorce jokes on his parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My exam things we still make fun.
Yeah.
These are things that I'm sure people can use as ammunition to bring us down, you know? Like now considering this thing has blown. It just like I don't now it's very in a very grey space.
But what can get you cancelled is probably it's very hard to.
No, it won't happen to
anyone
us.
to predict, man.
I don't think it would ever happen.
Yeah.
Bro,
It's just because it was him.
It's like what caused it is this whole parents, the idea of parents in this country is very sacred.
Yeah.
And to go like fully ballistic with that idea and just throwing it out the window, coming from a guy like Ranveer, I think it just like messed something up in the
It did. Yeah.
Universe mein,
Yeah.
But because our parents watch him.
Yeah, bro, like kuch to flip ho gaya bhai.
Something.
Like people just couldn't take it. That's what I see. Like the way the reactions that I'm seeing,
because it was him.
It's just like I'm pretty sure if Samay also said it, it would still go down because of the magnitude of the show. Once things go mainstream now, then it's going everywhere.
You know what? I don't agree with that. I don't agree. If Samay had said exactly the same thing, word for word, it would be as big a deal. Because he said, he says the dankest shit.
It's him. So we know he will say that.
Yeah.
But he never...
He won't say an unoriginal joke.
He never talks about parents and...
I mean, he's
like
a smart guy.
Dada mar gaya. That's a comfortable idea. Dada marne hi wala hai. It's like...
Respectfully, yeah.
Your Dada will probably die in your lifetime.
Yeah.
Like, probably nahi, matlab either you will go or he'll go before you. But it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So, I don't think people would... People are like, okay, oh, how can he say this? But
yeah,
fine.
I'm just saying it wouldn't have been
idea
as big a deal.
Incest with parents, I think coming from anyone at that scale would get an issue.
To be very frank, I didn't find that funny.
It's not funny.
But I didn't find it entertaining either. I didn't find that whatever he said was... Firstly, it's how many times will people say it? That Kanan Gill also said. That clip you also... Everyone, basically
it's
everyone
been said and done.
By too many people.
It's been said and done by. It's just the format of the show. It's like when people are trying to one-up each other, and if you're trying to one-up Samay...
That wasn't even... Was he even trying to one-up?
No, he was just like, okay, we are in this show. Shit's going crazy right now. Like, because the episode before that also was like, people are like...
Har episode hi crazy ja raha hai.
Crazy ja raha hai. So he's in that environment.
Isko jaake woo!
It is a intimidating place to be, bro. To be honest.
There's weight on the judges too, bro.
Yeah, you have to perform. And like there's excitement when you're like, oh, this guy's come now. He wants to say something funny and everyone... This is honestly... Now, if we're going to critique the show...
Yeah, let's do that also.
Samay probably should have... I think I heard someone else also say it, but it's something that I thought he should have probably just kept comics on the lineup, on the judges, because comedians have an understanding of what is a joke, how is a joke. They'll probably bomb. Aisa nahi hai ki they'll say things that are always funny.
Yeah.
They know what lines to stay within, I think.
Mostly, yeah.
And when you get people who are not from that, comedy is not their forte.
Non-comics sitting with comics and trying to be funny, trying to be edgy.
And you have seen that time and time again.
Yeah,
that's the premise of every crowd work clip. Where someone tries to say something funny and then the comedian is like, shut the fuck up. That wasn't funny and I'm 100 times funnier than you. This is why I'm on stage and you're sitting there.
Yeah.
And you saw that with contestants also on the show before. They would come and try to be edgy and say something funny, and Samay would put them in their place.
Yeah.
The judges would put them in their place. तो contestants के साथ भी होता है, audience के साथ भी होता है, वो heckle करके बोलता है कभी-कभी कुछ thinking, oh fuck, this is so funny.
Yeah.
But you don't have that muscle in your brain. That muscle, the humor muscle in your brain isn't strong enough for you to have a good judgment.
Yeah. Timing.
Yeah. Like it takes a lot for a joke to land.
Yeah. भाई सालों से कर रहे हैं यार comics, bro. They're on stage every single night for years just to get a joke right.
तो तुम किसी को डाल दो वो environment में. And now you're like, okay, now everyone has to be funny.
Yeah.
तो गांड फट जाती है भाई.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you go and see the raw files of Latent, of all these episodes, of everyone else just trying to say something to be funny, there'll be like hours long of footage of just unfunny jokes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
This was left in because I think it was just that Ranveer saying it and then Samay saying, bro, ye TRS ke rejected questions पूछ रहा है.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah.
I didn't see that clip.
So he's like, essentially the whole thing was ki Ranveer has come on this show and he's this guy who's clean and he's nice, but here he gets to be free. And now he's going to ask the questions that he actually wanted to ask his guests, but he couldn't.
Yeah.
That was the whole premise of those absurd questions being left in.
Yeah. Yeah, man, like pre this event, anyone, let's say you're Samay, you're like, this shit has happened on the show. Of course, I'm going to keep it.
Yeah.
It's a members episode.
Yeah. And you know, the way they do the show, Samay always has like, okay, Ranveer is gonna come. This is the Ranveer ka. This is his, what do you call it? this is the thing that I'm gonna poke fun at constantly. Like I'll make a character
हाँ.
and I'll find the nuances within that character and constantly attack
Needle
that.
them, हाँ.
Ashish Chanchalani ka uska breakup ho gaya, he
Yeah,
cried
yeah,
about it. Apurva is single and she keeps looking for a guy. Those are the premises that he takes for every
Yeah.
character who's on the show, and he will double down on that. And he's done that the whole time. So अभी ये Crossfire में ये सब हो गया.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
What do you think happens? What do you think?
The future?
Yeah, like no, at least with him, do you feel like it's over?
Samay?
Not with Samay. Samay will
Ranveer?
be fine. I think.
Samay is gonna come back bigger than ever. Like
Be
it's
the
gonna
biggest.
be.
He's-
Yeah.
There's nothing that will happen.
He's
to
gonna be
Samay.
unstoppable now.
ये biceps का brand थोड़ा fuck हो गया अभी.
हाँ, he'll have to think, and
He'll have to think now. He was not thinking before.
No, I mean, just the way he was thinking maybe was not the best.
he's gonna have to switch
Best
up a
of the-
bit. But
yeah.
knowing him and the kind of and his content machinery that he's built, I think they'll figure something out.
Yeah.
कुछ तो कर लेंगे वो.
अभी घट रहे ना उससे apparently कह रहे हो. I don't know. I've not
What?
checked any of his. I don't know what the numbers are, but
Followers?
हाँ, news anchors and all are claiming his people are.
People will say anything.
तो वो ठीक है भाई. एक level के बाद
Look at the-
you're undeniable now.
हाँ भाई. But look at the but in terms of his marketability and people monetizing his stuff, that will.
Bro, he can honestly. I would just go do my own thing now.
Really?
Yeah, this was
Take
this
your
was
money
the
and go
no,
find
this
an
was the
island.
universe, bro. This was the universe telling you, bro, chill out now. You look,
Damn.
like people don't know the kind of wealth that he's accumulated doing this content thing.
Is a lot of.
It's insane.
Okay.
Matlab,
He probably doesn't
you know,
have
he doesn't have
work.
to. He doesn't even have to sit and think. He should just get himself cleared. He's done the apologizing.
Yeah.
Just live your life.
Go
now.
and like learn how to like build things and
Just do your thing.
just do time
Yeah.
pass.
Do your thing, and if you ever feel like you want to come back to content, figure something out. AIB did it.
Yeah.
I mean, they all have.
But AIB was talented.
Hi, you can't deny the talent here, na bro. To build what he's built takes
talent behind.
There is talent. There is a very.
There is a lot of drive
There's work
and there is a lot of ambition.
The talent is the hard work. You can.
Yeah.
think of hard
So
work
that
as the
would I
talent,
would resort
if you-
to saying he has a lot of passion and ambition towards wanting to make it work
Yeah.
as a product, which he's done flawlessly, I guess, until now. And here these guys are like writing scripts and they're doing things that are real. Like you need to induce your creativity.
but
That's for
that's
real.
I'm saying if he still wants a career, he will figure out.
Yeah.
A career in
He'll figure
content
it out.
is
He's a
there.
smart
He'll figure it out. So कर लेंगे. A future.
I hope his parents are safe. That's scary. That news over his mom and
Yeah.
panic. And I don't like reading all that.
Yeah. And now I think we after this we've entered a place where people are going to be creators, at least they're going to be they're going to think twice about what they're saying, and they're going to be safe with their content, and to some extent maybe it'll get rid of some like garbage also that has been coming out. And we don't have to look too far also. If we look at some of the work that we've also put out, which is, we realized it before, to be fair, we realized it before all of this went down, that we were like, okay, there are things that we said as 23-year-olds. We're 26 now. We were 22 when we started it.
Yeah.
There are things that we've said in the past that in that moment that was the funniest thing to say, and that was like, that's how we did it. Now there's other things, and if you look at our episodes in the past 2 months, there has been a change in how we are going about our subject material that we talk about.
Right.
Like maybe people saw this as like, that's the thing we're labeled as Gen Z podcast, talking about Gen Z things, relationships, sex, and those are things that we did speak about, and I think we'll keep speaking about.
Yeah.
But now we've entered the real world, and there are other things, and we realized this, and we're like, okay, we're gonna change. And numbers also went up, so we're like, oh shit. When we say things, a lot of people hear them now.
One, then what is the magic of the show that you can come here and talk about things that in most likelihood in other avenues you would not talk about. And the fact that we can do it so unabashedly is what makes this something to, hey, this is a cool show.
Yeah.
So I, like again, we've had this conversation multiple times, but this thing shouldn't, I think these sort of things are going to happen more often now. People getting...
yeah, I mean, see, that's what happens. It's like the people have also gotten a taste of, like they've tasted blood a bit. They're like, oh shit, if we want to take someone down, we can. Now, if then the whole system decides to support that, then then you're kind of fucked.
It's a dangerous precedent to set, right?
Yeah, because when I'm seeing a lot of the stuff that's being said online, or if you just scroll Twitter, you're like, bro, this doesn't seem organic at all. मतलब है कुछ तो, like it's being pumped.
Yeah.
Outrage तो था, but मुझे तो लगता है outrage comments से बंद होता है. Max FIR जाता है, FIR में they'll come, they'll talk, they'll be like, okay, ठीक है, go, bail, ये सब, or whatever the system says. But a lot of it, for it to make the news cycle and continue for days and days and days, you're like, okay, it's not just the people being upset.
It's definitely being funded.
That's some very important people that are pissed off about this. Who
it's not the fact that they are pissed off, it's that this is classic deflection of real things that matter. It's a
bit of that, but there's a bit of other things also. Like, I don't think it's just that. वो तो हमेशा करते हैं भाई. वो ये issue तो वो सब चीज के साथ करता है.
That we've seen for years happen. Like the news cycle just shifts. Anything happens.
They pick something up and they like निचोड़ देते हैं भाई for as long as they can.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is, yes, let's distract people. That's a government tactic. It's not just India. They do it everywhere. It's done everywhere. Like they in the US, when Trump was president for 4 years, that was the only thing that was spoken about, how bad Trump is, because it was, you get to do that and people will keep watching.
Yeah.
Now, the thing that a lot of people may forget is when you see a news channel, when you see a media outlet, they're all business organizations.
Yeah.
They're trying to maximize profit.
Most of them are privately owned.
Privately owned, or however it's owned. They are a business at the end of the day. They have to make sure enough people are watching so that they can run ads and make money. It's like this YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So you're optimizing for views. और अगर तुम किस चीज चला रहे हो,
okay,
and now I'm sure, bro, this 4 days of coverage has been like, the graph has gone like this.
Yeah.
सबका
क्योंकि उससे पहले तो normal news ही चलता है, ये हो गया, वो हो गया. But this is an issue now. Like, it's everyone's invested, everyone's making a lot of money, and that is fully against journalism. Like, journalism and profit don't go hand in hand.
Yeah.
If you're someone who's doing real journalism, you will never compete with someone who's trying to get the most views possible. So,
but I think one thing, there's two points I would like to make here.
Pass the water.
One is that this, what you just said now, has put me in a bit of like a conspiracy zone now, where like I could see how mainstream media outlets, news, people who have platforms where they want to put out information, how they could feel threatened by somebody who has this much influence that's been achieved individually.
Yeah.
They look at that and they're like, iske paas ye kaise aa gaya? You know? So that's something that I feel, now I don't know whether it's...
this has been there. Like,
there's a pettiness about it. And
traditional media versus new media is a thing that we'll keep seeing until traditional media probably gets extinct.
Yeah. Which
will happen eventually. Now these people are like...
just trying to delay it as much as they can by cancelling shows like this.
US में भी हुआ था.
Yeah.
Exact same thing. Them going after Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Bro, Joe Rogan is the biggest media outlet in
The world, right?
the world, in the US at least.
The
Like-
world, why listening numbers is unparalleled.
So that's what I'm saying. Like his audience, and like if you have an interview of Donald Trump on CNN, on BBC, on whatever, and then you do a podcast with Joe Rogan, you put them up on 4 YouTube channels, you know the Joe Rogan one is always going to do better.
Yeah.
Like it will outperform any of these legacy media organizations.
Right.
Yeah.
And now within the content sphere in India, Ranveer was getting there. He is there. Like someone coming on his show, that's like the numbers that he would pull. So he is direct competition to these people.
Yeah, fully. He's in fact dissolved the competition.
Yeah, it's
Competition
him. It's
is
not just
nowhere
him.
near. All of them, all the big guys.
Dhruv Rathi also.
Dhruv Rathi is there. Samdish is there. Samdish is, I find that to be the closest thing to real journalism happening in this country right now.
Easily.
And it's being done independently. It's being, I don't know who's funding it, whether it's got a bigger operation behind it or not. But this is the future in my eyes. Like these are people who are threatened by the reach and the potential that independent media has. And I feel like a lot of why they're trying to tarnish this guy's brand and bring him down is because they see that. They see the strength his audience has.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, it's depleting, but not, hopefully, it doesn't hurt him by a lot. You know?
Yeah, I mean, that's, if you're on the side of the legacy media agencies, whoever's running these news cycles, you're sitting there and you're like, oh, he said this. Maybe there's something we can do. Maybe let's try to see. Let's put it out and see what people say. And then you make this big issue out of it, and you keep running it, and you keep running it, and you keep running it. And now, within this week, Ranveer hasn't put out an episode.
Yeah.
And he's probably not going to put out an episode for a while.
Yeah.
They're claiming people are cancelling to do the show also. That singer came out and said his name is B. Prak. I've not heard any of his music, but he's a big.
But they came out and said no, he wasn't invited.
खुद जाके स्टोरी पे बोल रहा है भाई ये तुम सनातन के बारे में
get attention.
हाँ bro, वो तो ऐसा ही है ना भाई. ये सब चल रहा है तो मैं भी आके कुछ बोल देता हूँ. I will show. He apparently wasn't even invited on the show.
that's what.
So, and he follows Diddy on Instagram.
Oh my god.
तो
should never get him on
और
anywhere, any
बी
show.
प्राक का ओपिनियन कब से सुन रहे हो भाई?
I mean now if he has, I don't even know who he is, bhai, but he came and why I brought him up because he's saying तुम इसके बारे में बात करते हो उसके बारे में बात फिर तुम ये सनातन कोई ऐसे बातें नहीं करता है.
Yeah.
And you know
आग लगा रहा है भाई.
आग लगा रहा है वो.
Like Mika Singh is coming out and talking.
Mika Singh is a man who's on national television harassed a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he made out to that Rakhi Sawant.
He makes...
ये लोग को, and I'm not scared of saying anything. Even all these hypocrites online, bro.
Yeah.
Even this Arnab Goswami. For him to come out and say, to point fingers at someone for being disingenuous on screen is pathetic, bhai.
Yeah. I mean...
It does not make any sense. And if, like, we do have a lot of viewers who are older, you know. I really want them to like hear us and like not fall into this trap that the people are trying to brainwash them.
वो तो हर घर का any person who's between like 17 to 35, that is like one of their biggest pain points in their life when they go home and see their parents have
watching
the news
TV.
on and they're like
people shouting at each
they
other.
eat this shit, like they eat it up. You see their WhatsApp, it's just like baseless articles randomly, and वो machinery जो है, it's in place and it's working, it's doing its job, and it's like you and me कितना ही कर सकते हैं हम.
हाँ.
Like you will sit down with your parents and you speak to them. They're fucking adults, bro.
Yeah.
Like the grown ass men and women. If they've gone down that slope, you're probably not going to get them out. And when things like these happen, where there are opinions and there's like a very conservative opinion and there's a progressive opinion and there's stuff in the middle, I usually look at how people our age are reacting, because that matters to me a lot more, because these people are going to be around for much longer.
Yeah.
Like once we grow up more, and these are the kind of people we're going to be surrounded by, these oldies are going away. That's one thing that gives me thoda relief.
Hope,
that these oldies are 20-30 more years and
Yeah, man, get the oldies out and have faith in the young people. You know, युवाओं में थोड़ा, I feel they should keep faith. I feel we're very sharp and we're very even when we say things that may be crude or crass, we're honest. समझ रहा है बात को? हम झूठ नहीं, we're not deceiving anyone. Unlike these pathetic news anchors who come and say stories because they've been paid by some people, or who come and they have an agenda behind. We don't have agenda when I'm talking about anything. Like, as my thoughts I'm having, it's coming out online for someone to hear it. That's very powerful, and it shows that even if there comes a point where the world has recognized that, oh, इस बंदे ने कुछ गलत बोला है ना, I will be man enough to like come and apologize and say it here and be like, you know what, maybe I did make, because we're open minded as well.
Yeah.
ये भी बहुत लोग मैं देख रहा हूँ online, like I've on X or whatever, even people who are who are saying he should not be hung or should not be legally pursued, they are saying कि यार ये joke क्या ही joke है. They're conscious.
Yeah.
They're conscious with their debate. They're conscious with their argument. These people are not.
Yeah, I mean, there is something about people of this generation that they're a bit more inclined towards the truth than the previous generations. Like, they're like, we're flawed, but we know we're flawed, and we'll show you that we're flawed. But we are aware. कि मतलब है, हम we know. This is like, yeah, मैं करता हूँ भाई, गाली गलोच तो करता हूँ, but this is me.
Yeah.
And most people, that's the extent of it. थोड़ा गाली गलोच, थोड़ा like your humor is fucked up, and then that's just that. वो घर पे जाके वो पढ़ाई कर रहा है. मतलब जब पढ़ना है तो पढ़ाई कर रहा है, then he's looking for a job, he gets a job, he's trying towards making a good living without the pretense of कि oh, like मैं ये my cultural identity and this is my morally, मतलब क्या ही वो, it doesn't add up. Like, when the more you try to make sense of it, the more you're like, bro, like, you're saying this, but at the same time,
that's where like all of this ends, because you're just like, okay, we've had all this conversation and we've spoken about everything, but we still don't, it doesn't make sense. It still doesn't add up, none of this. But you're like, okay, this is the world we live in.
We'll take things as they come by, and I would, again, I'm encouraging y'all that we should just, be who we are and not be intimidated by situations like this.
Yeah, I'm not intimidated. It's
I'm
just
not saying
sad.
you are. I'm
it's just
saying.
sad.
Yeah,
and I see it, and it's a bit like demotivating.
Yeah.
Where you think that, okay, I'm doing everything that I can. Like, we see, for example, we see media, how it was done. We see news, and we're like, okay, that's not good enough. Like, this is not how it's done, and I will do it. I'll try to do it better.
Yeah.
You look at entertainment. What is out there is not appealing to me. So I'll try to make what is appealing to me, what's entertaining, and hopefully other people will also find it entertaining.
Exactly.
And if they do, I'll have a career, and I will keep doing this. So when you are in that mindset that you want to create something and you want to be original and you want to be real and you want to do this, and you're like, ठीक है, so if I succeed at this, ultimately I'll be cancelled. Like, is that the thing that I'm working towards? Like, are we collectively working towards and eventually being cancelled? So then that's not a race I want to run. तो ये सब देख के मुझे ऐसा लगता है ना.
Yeah.
The only reason no one's come after us is because it's not as big.
Yeah.
Once it becomes big and they see, oh fuck, these guys are doing well, they're getting all these views, they're making all this money. Let's see what they've said.
Yeah.
This also maybe I feel is a mind shift that we should make, I feel. It will keep us safe. Like being okay with the fact that, okay, we don't have to be the biggest person here.
That's okay, yeah. That's okay.
You know?
When I don't mean biggest, but I'm like, if I'm succeeding at what I'm doing,
Yeah.
eventually it'll become big now. Because now if my whole thing is that I'll put what's authentic and what's real and what's truthful, that's bound to resonate with people.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole idea, that this is the only place where people will come and say whatever they want, and I think there is a big appeal to that.
Yeah.
अगर हम हिंदी में कर रहे होते भाई अब तक ये सब जितना अब तक किया है, you would see the difference.
Yeah. We would be in the dumps.
Yeah.
You would not be. I would have gotten
where would we be?
somewhere bad, why?
In the jail or
Yeah, somewhere not way. I feel like the content would have transformed into something completely different if it was like being done in Hindi.
That's what I'm saying. No, that's there is that language barrier still. ठीक है हम
वो गेट खोल दिया भाई तो
हम मुंबई में रह रहे हैं तो दिख रहा है भाई.
I think that is the gate these guys have opened भाई, latent and all.
Of course.
क्योंकि वो हिंदी में
हाँ भाई, तो audience देख
That's the thing ना भाई. जो
yeah.
देख तूने तारक मेहता का एपिसोड देखा है कभी? Have you watched?
Not properly, but I know the show. I watched some of the episodes.
Yeah, but you can't watch it, right?
Yeah.
We can't watch it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you see that and you're like, yeah, what is this? Like, why would anyone find this funny? Like, I just don't understand.
But
Now, the kind of people who find that funny, you show them Latent. Same reaction. Literal same reaction. कि भाई इस पे तुम कैसा हंस रहे हो? Like, what's funny about this? They're just saying dirty things.
Yeah.
Like, where is the joke? Joke तो जाकिर खान करता है. Joke तो कपिल करता है. ये क्या है? ये तुम बदतमीजी करते हो और उसको जोक बोलते हो, एक दूसरे को गाली देते हो. So that
TG अलग है
like you need to understand that there is that spectrum is fucking wide.
Bhai, Kapil is in a grey space. There's constant fucking womanization that happens on that show. One guy is fucking cosplaying a transvestite. Two of them, in fact, and they're made fun of. The host is being called that Udit Narayan has gone drunk and gone on that show, and he's calling her a fatso.
And there's a lot of double meaning, like
so much, bhai.
innuendos.
This is on TV.
But so people see that and they appreciate that also, because there are premises that will always have interest, and you can always have humor about marriage dynamics, sex, whatever else they make fun of.
Yeah, just relationship stuff.
Yeah, that will always be funny in whatever language. तो वो कर सकता है, मतलब वो palatable है लोगों के लिए. But the way we do it or the way Samay does it, it's more on the face. कि instead of saying like some clever double meaning, he'll be like, "Arey."
Yeah.
Like he'll say it like it is.
Correct, but because this is a conversation and that's a bit. Couple, they're doing bits.
Yeah.
It's a show. They're बना रहे हैं वो लोग, but we just talk to each other, man.
कितना mistreat करता है वो अपने wife को. वो किसी को influence नहीं कर रहा है. फिर his wife
does the character on the show.
ठीक है भाई, but that way even I can come here and I can say कि हाँ, obviously I'm exaggerating.
But see, that's the same mechanism, na? Like someone taking someone down, roasting.
Yeah.
That will be always funny if done in a certain way.
Yeah.
Latent works because everyone's roasting each other. Kapil is also roasting all the other people.
Yeah.
वो भी मस्ती कर रहा है ना, मजाक कर रहा है.
Yeah.
So same mechanism तो same ही है भाई, but it's just like the tolerance.
Methodology is different.
It's the tolerance.
Delivery and the tolerance.
But what makes them tolerant is how they. It's that वो सुना के बोलेगा वो ऐसा cheekily बोलेगा वो.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's the delivery. It's the playfulness and the fact that everyone's on board with it.
Yeah.
No one's getting pissed off at like on the Kapil Sharma show.
If I was Archana on that Udit Narayan episode, I would be upset by. The Archana's job is just to be there and laugh by. First of all, she has the best job in the world.
I read something very sad about that part also. Like, it's not the easiest thing in the world, man.
What?
Like, once someone in her family passed away, like immediate family.
Oh.
And she had to go and
And
laugh.
she had to go and laugh
ठीक है,
at the
whatever.
show.
So, but on
Immediately.
face on I get
This is like when
Come on, but
footballers
this is-
score a goal after like their dad has died.
But yeah,
this is applicable to
I don't
any
think it's the same
profession.
thing.
Any profession.
हाँ,
is
but
that-
it's
you
a
have to
job.
show
It's a
up. You have
job
to show
that
up.
you have to do.
Yeah.
and
The laughing
her job
makes it a
happens to
bit
be
like ठीक है, if you're going to office,
Maybe don't
yeah,
laugh.
my relative, you can keep them in your memory. You can't be
Yeah.
like laughing like a madman and thinking of your dead
Crazy, she
grandfather.
laughs.
yeah.
Laughing after. Either way, it seems like a fun job. You know, if I had it, I would be. That's
On
what I do here.
on
You know
most-
that
on
I'm the
most
Archana
days.
of this show. I'm just laughing. I don't do it here.
On most days, it sounds like a fun job.
Yeah, bhai.
Laughing.
Yeah.
But yeah, like these are such subjective things.
Yeah.
And if we're going to try and regulate and make it universal, I just don't see how that.
There's
Who
no,
was saying we were talking about this, or I don't know who we were talking about it.
the broadcast bill.
Not the broadcast bill. I don't know enough about it. Scrutiny like this is more cultural than legal.
Yeah.
है ना?
Yeah, but now it's become legal also. Abhi.
Haan, but I'm saying the pushback you get if it's on the cultural side, you're
Fair,
gonna,
and that
you're
is
gonna
fair.
be treated in a worse way.
Yeah, and I'm okay. I'm okay with the nation hating India's got Latent and Ranveer Allahbadia, whatever. Allahbadia, sorry. Stop there. You know, don't make it more.
Hate
than
him,
that.
like don't send him to jail.
Don't. If someone wants to file a complaint through a judicial process, also okay, that's their right. But to like demand for him to be hung and
Really, people are calling for him to be
That's
hung?
just like
nonsense.
sensationalism, bro. That's just like saying something.
That's gonna
or
get
like
you clicks for sure.
Like,
Yeah.
A perspective that I'll throw in here is I'm
this is
gonna
Ali, by the way, who's producing the show.
Hi, Ali.
Hey, Ali.
I'm gonna go off of something that Krishna was saying when he was talking about the difference between government going after someone for saying something and whether the right way to do it is for them to what's the line there. I think Krishna was talking about parents regulating their content, and they expect if they can't do it, then how do we expect the government to do it? Something like that. And I like that train of thought because if you follow that train of thought, then you will end up at the question: what is the solution that government can impose? One way where we don't want to go is for them to have the ability to censor. That's not a direction that we want to go because I don't think that helps anyone.
Yeah.
It's better to see who someone is rather than suppress that, because that gives them the power, if they're ill-motivated, the government, to censor anyone. So that's probably not the good direction to go. But another way to think about it is what we could replace that approach with is the things that we want to say. So if Ranveer wanted to go on the show and say that, okay, what do you want to say? That can be it. There can be, if you just say what you want to say, you give people to choose what they want to believe, which side they want to take, and it can end there. Doesn't have to go anything beyond that. And if you do that, then I think it's a more humane way to approach this, because you give each individual a choice of what they want to listen to.
Yeah.
So a simpler way of saying this would be to say the way to, you guys probably might know this. I said the way for better speech is not censoring speech, but good speech.
Yeah, to fight bad speech, you don't get rid of speech. You give better speech. You fight bad speech with better speech, something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fair. It sounds a little utopian right now, unfortunately.
But that's the thing, because if censorship is the way, that I can tell you it doesn't work. मतलब वो तुम करो, but it will work to some extent कि like I come from a country with ultimate censorship, maximum censorship. Like everything that goes on TV, the state approves it. Otherwise, it doesn't go on TV.
What about social media?
Social media, everything other than Instagram is blocked. So you have to use VPN to get access to it. So Instagram is the only thing.
YouTube?
No
YouTube?
No YouTube, no Twitter, no Telegram.
Facebook.
No Facebook, nothing. And TV channels are limited. So TV पे जो भी आता है, it's state backed, state sponsored.
Damn.
Which is interesting because something like this went down in Iran also, where there was this TV show called The Joker, and it's a game show where they get like a bunch of comics, and it's like Big Boss. They have to stay together, but it's like a long try not to laugh. Like they have like 1 hour in which they can laugh, and the rest of that, like if you laugh, you get penalties or eliminated, and everyone is a comedian. So it was this like insane hit TV show because the premise is too good.
Yeah.
So usme obviously then the humor, it started from somewhere and it started going, a bunch of comics living together trying to make each other laugh. Obviously the humor is going to be kept getting pushed and pushed and pushed.
Yeah.
So thoda then they started playing with this double meaning jokes. And
Okay, I see.
हाँ जैसा कपिल में होता है वैसे ही कर रहे थे within the limit. But then again, now there are in every country there are religious leaders, so they start complaining. They're like, oh, how are we showing this on TV? Ye wo. So now the show has stopped for a while they try to figure out. तो तुम censorship के साथ भी उतना ही censor. ईरान में क्या बच्चे porn नहीं देख रहे क्या? Movies नहीं देख रहे क्या? They'll pirate it and they'll watch it. They are on YouTube. VPN कोई भी लगा सकता है.
Yeah, I mean, people are going to find a way.
Porn, I think even we can. It's supposedly banned here, but we would have, if we wanted to watch it, we could watch it immediately.
We live in a age where the way to do it is like if you want ultimate crazy censorship, then you see China and North Korea.
Yeah.
They do it.
Yeah.
Where to a level where you get penalized for doing whatever. India, mein, that's impossible. Like you can't do it.
Yeah.
Like the scale of infrastructure that you will need, first of all, to pull off something like that is impossible.
Nah.
So, or even if they go through with it, what will happen is people will just leave the country, make their content. Content is accessible from anywhere. Dhruv Rathi Germany में बैठ के बना रहा है.
Yeah.
Germany में बैठा है.
हाँ. Yeah.
I
didn't know that.
He's married to a
German woman.
Yeah, they live there. He lives there. And a lot of creators, a lot of YouTubers live abroad. They make their content. They live their life there. It's broadcasted here. It's accessible everywhere. और ये भी काफी possible है. मतलब, which will be a sad thing if it happens.
Yeah.
Because now what stops Samay from be like, you know what, fuck this. मेरे को नहीं करना है. Like I tried doing my thing here. Like this is what I got in return. I'll take my family. I'll go live in a first world country. I'll do my chess streams, whatever. Comedy भी बाहर भी कर ही सकता है वो. It's not the same. It's not the same. Obviously, it's not the same. Like you want to be here, you want to be around your country doing it. But if worst case, that's the thing, you'll see all these people go. Hey, by Iran, mein, there's a whole industry which is outside Iran, like in London, LA. Radio shows, TV channels, like they've made their own TV channels, they make their own, like there's a whole music industry, and they put their stuff up online and they broadcast it through satellite. So in Iran, everyone gets their own dish. Like, so you will call someone, he's the plug. He'll come, he's the dealer. He'll come and he'll set up a dish, put a set-up box, and you access all these channels which are being broadcasted from outside Iran, making content in Persian.
Damn.
तो ये सब उन्होंने figure out कर लिया है.
Right.
It'll be sad, man, if we see like
वैसा नहीं होगा.
good Indian creators.
वैसा तो नहीं होता है. मतलब होना नहीं चाहिए. This is also like a little slap on the wrist कि guys
थोड़ा
ज़्यादा free मत हो. Like
चिमटी मार रहे हैं basically.
हाँ.
एक.
Yeah.
One pinch.
I mean, we'll see how it unfolds. We'll cover it as we go. I just wanted to like just speak about the things that have been happening in the past.
Can we ask the audience to also like just
weigh in
in the comment box? Like I want to know if there are people who are who took the joke negatively, or to who are on, let's say, the government side. You know, I want to know what their perspective is. If there are those people, I don't know. It seems like they won't.
Government side और ये सब मत बोल.
Yeah,
I'm also with the
No,
government.
even I love the government. I love them. They're my favorite. But you know, you get what I'm
They're
saying.
the best. Yeah.
I vote and all by every time. Don't fuck with me. अच्छा आदमी हूँ मैं.
Yeah, but yeah, people will tell us anyway.
What they think.
Yeah, वो तो बोलेंगे ही.
लोग तो बोलेंगे ही.
लोग
तो लोग
कहेंगे.
कहेंगे. लोगों का काम है कहना.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With that.
Anyway, with that, you have something to say?
No?
No? Okay.
Awesome.
Good night.
Good.
Okay, guys.
Good night, man.
Be safe.
Be safe.
Stay safe.
Chill out.
Don't make jokes on your parents.
Yeah, please don't. Don't hate people who make jokes.
And don't make.
And don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't.